What is going on, everybody? ZyoniK here, and in today's video we're going to check out some awesome battles with a strong team that I used last season as well for the Remix Cup, and that is going to be Obstagoon, Double Poison, Nidoqueen, and Drapion. If you have Shadows, use Shadows. If you don't, like me, use Normals. These Pokemon are absolutely phenomenal for the Remix Cup. So let me know down in the comments what you guys think about this team and these battles, and let's go ahead and get right into it. Alright, getting into this first battle here, let's see how this goes. We have Obstagoon on the lead versus Sylveon. Terrible match. But we have two good answers in the back, so we're going to go straight into that Drapion. Drapion is literally one of the best, if not the best, safe swap in the Remix Cup, and it got buffed with the 30% chance to debuff from Crunch, which we just got right there, so the defense drop. What's also great right here is I'm reading that a Whiscash swapped into my Drapion, so I'm guessing, or I'm going to bank on the fact that they do not have another answer for Nidoqueen in the back. This might be their only answer, so I'm going to go ahead and let Drapion basically go down, and then we're going to look to sweep with Nidoqueen endgame. That's what's cool about running Double Poison, is a lot of people typically don't have answers for two poisons. So we're going to go ahead, let Obstagoon tank these charge moves. Whiscash has a lot of loaded energy right now because, again, I'm reading this Whiscash is the only answer to Nidoqueen, so I'm going to give Nidoqueen both shields and see if we can tear apart the end game. So what we're going to do is we're going to swap right away. I know that Sylveon is coming in, but actually they have a Blaziken, so here's the perfect example of why running this Double Poison here, they don't have the best answers. So we're going to go ahead and just throw Poison Fangs right here. It does a ton of neutral damage, the defense drop as well. We do get a bit of lag, but it's okay. If we just keep tapping our screen, we're going to blaze through this. And now Sylveon is going to get absolutely destroyed by Poison Fang and Poison Jab. So that is going to be a good game, very well played. This is just a tendency that I've noticed when I run these Obstagoon Double Poisons teams. Again, if you guys want to see the other video, I ran this team last season when Remix Cup was around at the 2800s. This team literally got me 300 rating in a couple sets that I did. It's phenomenal once you learn how to play it. Now, sadly, when I did these battles, the servers were kind of slow, but we were able to take that out, and that is going to be a good game, very well played. All right. Moving into this next battle, we got a lot of really great battles today to show you guys. We have Obstagoon versus Obstagoon on the lead. Mirror matchup. What I like to do in this matchup is go for the cross chop, obviously, stay in this matchup, and then I'll give up one shield. Obviously, I don't want to get one shot by cross chop, so we will give up a shield, and then we're going to go ahead and throw our own, and then after that, I'm going to look to swap into Drapion. Again, Drapion is one of the best safe swaps in this meta, and in a 1-to-1 shield situation, especially when ahead on energy, it can put in a lot of hurt. So we get ahead, we're going to go for Aqua Tail right here. Doing any chip damage to their Obstagoon while they decide to stay in is going to pay dividends when we do have our own Obstagoon come back into that later on. You guys will see. Now, Toxicroak. Toxicroak is literally the core breaker of this team. It's very, very tough to deal with, but I think we can manage it right here. Hopefully I can get to another Aqua Tail, which I don't, so I'm going to have to let Drapion go down. My only win condition right here is with my Nidoqueen, and hopefully I can try to catch a charge move on Obstagoon. That's the play for me right here. So I'm going to go ahead and bring in the Nidoqueen, start loading up on energy. We have to shield this Mud Bomb. Mud Bombs destroy, and like I said, Toxicroak core breaks this team, but I haven't seen it too often. Now we're going to go ahead and throw the Poison Fang right here. This should be getting the shield from them. Even though it's going to be resisted, I think they want to keep Toxicroak alive, which they do. So now what I'm going to do is swap into Obstagoon to try to catch the charge move, and they swap back out. If they would have stayed into that, they might have been able to farm me down and we would have lost. But thankfully, we put them in a panic situation and we're able to farm down. Toxicroak, we have Poison Fang. If Toxicroak comes back in, things are looking pretty good. So we are going to see the Toxicroak come back in. We go straight for the Poison Fang. Again, this is resisted because of the poison typing, but it might just do enough damage, which it does. Beautiful. Their final Pokemon is a Shadow Nidoqueen, so it's going to be a race. We're both at 0 energy, but thankfully my Nidoqueen was a lucky trade, and I'm going to be able to win this race and win the CMP tie with Earth Power because I do have 15 attack right there. Boom! One shots the Nidoqueen, and that is going to be a good battle. Very well played. So, like I said, Toxicroak is a core breaker. It's super tough to deal with, but sometimes you can manage it with some nice plays. Alright, so we got Beedrill on the lead right here. This is one of those matchups, again, another nice core breaker of our team because it has access to bug type moves and ground, or drill run, a ground type move. So what we're going to do is we're going to no shield. It's going to be a Fell Stinger, which automatically tells me I definitely cannot stay in this matchup. I have to go into Drapion after throwing this Night Slash. So we do land it. We go straight into the Drapion right here, and we should be able to get to an Aqua Tail, but they swap into Mandibuzz, which is definitely a nice kind of wall to a Drapion. But because the Aqua Tails aren't going to be doing too much damage, right? It's just going to do a little bit of chip right here. What's great about Drapion is Poison Sting got a buff last season, I believe season 8, where it gains energy very, very quickly. It's kind of like Mud Shot and Thunder Shock. So we are going to be able to spam these Aqua Tails on top of not taking too much damage from the Aerial Aces that they're going to throw for neutral damage here. So hopefully we can get this Mandibuzz low enough so that Obstagoon can come in and hard farm. And Obstagoon with loaded energy versus that Beedrill is still going to be a pretty nice matchup for us because of how much damage Night Slash can do. So again, we're just going to keep spamming Aqua Tails right here, put pressure on them. But ultimately we have to let the Drapion go down. Now they decide to throw their energy, which is fine by me. This is a beautiful amount of health for Obstagoon to come in and farm because I'm not going to die from an Aerial Ace, and they might not be able to get to one in time. So I'm just going to fully commit to this farm down right here, which we do get it. That's beautiful. We have a massive amount of loaded energy. We're going to throw this Night Slash. This should get this shield from Beedrill, and once it does, I'm going to swap straight into that Nidoqueen right here. So we're going to go ahead and go into the Nidoqueen, and they are deciding to stay in, so they're probably going for a drill run right here. So we are going to go ahead and shield. Obviously, since we got one from them, we're going to shield ourselves, and we have a Hypno now come in. So this is actually a pretty tough matchup, but what's great is Confusion isn't doing too much damage. It is chunking us and getting us low, but we can get multiple Poison Fangs out, and I'm building up to Earth Power because I'm trying to threaten with that. Now, also because I'm so low, I will have to shield right here. But if I can manage my fast moves well and time it in between the confusions by sneaking through an extra fast move, I might just be able to get to 2 more Poison Fangs. So here's the first one. This is going to get the shield from our opponent, and then we do get to another one in time. Now, if I can also swap into Obstagoon, it's going to soak the damage that would have gone onto Nidoqueen. So that means I can keep my Nidoqueen alive. They do decide to throw their charge move as well, which means this Thunder Punch might take us out, but we hold on with 1 HP in a dream. We go for the Night Slash right here. Please do enough neutral damage to finish off the Beedrill. It's not enough. Beedrill takes us out. Nidoqueen is going to come back in and farm down, and it's going to be Poison Jab versus Confusion, and we KO each other at the same time. So good game, very well played to my opponent right there. All right, moving into this next one. We have Obstagoon versus Jirachi. This is a very, very solid matchup for us on the lead, considering we're doing neutral with counters and Night Slash does super effective, while also we resist the confusions there because of our dark typing. So this is very, very ideal for us. And we got the boost. Like, you couldn't ask for anything better. Now, they swap in the Pancake. And obviously, you guys know this Pancake can destroy our Nidoqueen and our Drapion with the Mud Bomb spam. So we have to stay in this matchup. And that's also very nice for us because we still have Drapion with Crunch, which is going to be able to take out a Jirachi pretty quickly. So we're just going to stay in with Obstagoon right here. Really put a lot of pressure on them to get that final shield from our opponent. Otherwise, we completely take out the hardest counter to our backline, potentially. So we will see them come back in with Jirachi. We're going to go ahead and swap into the Drapion because I want to keep Obstagoon alive just in case they have another answer for our poison backline right here. And we will be able to get to this Crunch in time. No, we're not able to get to it, so I have to give up a shield right here. That's perfectly fine by me. I'm going to be able to outpace them in terms of charge moves. They just had 2 Doom Desires because of all that loaded energy from the Obstagoon on the lead. So this first Crunch should be able to take it out, which we do. Very nice, and their final Pokemon is going to be a Drapion right here. So this is pretty good for us. We still have our Nidoqueen, which has Earth Power. We still have our Obstagoon, and we're an even shield, so things are looking very nice. Even though Drapion is a super strong Pokemon in this meta, its power doesn't really come from necessarily closing at such a disadvantage of a 1v3. Its power comes from the safe swap with shield advantage. So we're just going to go ahead and bring in the Nidoqueen right here. We're going to go for the Poison Fang. Obviously, Aqua Tail is going to be doing super effective damage, but if you have a normal Nidoqueen, it can actually hang on. As you can see, it can tank 2 Aqua Tails before it actually can go down. So we're just going to throw the Poison Fang here. Try to force that shield, which we do get it. This is perfectly fine. We can go for Earth Power now, and that is going to be a good game. Very well played. I'm also going to go ahead and do a slight little flex and no shield right here because I know it's not going to be enough damage to take us out. We're going to try to get to that Earth Power, but we CMP tie, so I will now give up a shield right here, then go for the Earth Power, and that is going to be a good game. So managing our energy, managing our swaps and whatnot was very nice for us, and thankfully they brought in the Pancake there, because if that Pancake stayed on the back line, that would have been very bad for us, potentially very bad. All right, moving into this next one, we got Obstagoon on the lead versus Poliwrath. Another terrible matchup. We got to go into Drapion right away, start getting ahead on energy. Now this matchup right here, I think they misclicked. Honestly, I think, considering what I know is in the back, because obviously I did this battle, I think they misclicked right there, which gave me a huge opening to turn this game around. So sometimes that happens. Sometimes your opponents or yourself will misclick and swap into the wrong Pokemon. That's why they didn't shield. They just let it go. There's a Greedent in the back. This would have definitely been a better matchup versus my Drapion. But ultimately, we're still looking pretty strong. So it could have been a different game if they swapped in the Greedent instead of Hypno. But you know, we'll never know. So good game to my opponent, but I'm guessing he misclicked, which is totally fine. It happens all the time. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to hold on. We're not going to shield. Obviously, Obstagoon coming in and loading up on energy is going to be nice, but our win con, they still can win this game. Our win con is letting Obstagoon go down here. I know it sounds crazy, excuse me, but I have to soak this energy. Boom! Takes it down. I have to soak the energy. It's the equivalent of sack swapping into Obstagoon to catch the charge move from Poliwrath, because I need all of that energy gone. And since they're running Dynamic Punch, they probably have Scald as well. So my win con is obviously double shielding here and a hard farm down, because Greedent is going to need to throw a couple charge moves in order to take us out, while I can just Poison Fang them down. So yeah, they're going to go ahead and throw another one. We're going to go ahead and shield right here. It's going to be another Scald, and then we're just going to commit to that farm down, and this should be basically a good game. It's still going to be close because Greedent's charge moves still do nice neutral damage to us, and I'm not too sure how much it's actually going to do, but constantly throwing Poison Fangs right here. I should have thrown another one right away, especially in this situation. There's no shield baiting going on. I am Poison Fang spamming, so throw it right away. We do get the shields right there, and then they are going to have a lot of energy right here, so hopefully it doesn't take us out. They decided to go for the Crunch, which might have been a misplay, because maybe they thought it would have been enough neutral damage to take us out, but considering the how much energy they can gain quickly with their fast move, the better play might have been to throw double Body Slam, and that would have been a good game. So we'll never know, but hey, good game to my opponent. All right. Moving into this next one, we got Obstagoon versus Stunfisk on the lead, another Pancake. We love to see it on the lead right here because obviously it can do well against our backline. But do understand, with Stunfisk typing of Ground Electric, we still have answers in the back, right? We got Aqua Tail and we have Earth Power, which does very nice. So seeing this Pokemon in the enemy team doesn't necessarily mean an automatic loss for your backline because you have answers for it. But on the lead, this is great to see. I'm not going to give up any shields. I'm just going to try to put as much pressure as I can with Obstagoon, and if we can come out of this by losing lead but getting a shield from our opponent, that is going to be a big win for us. This Pancake is already low enough where I'm happy to come in and farm down potentially with Drapion to get a lot of energy, and we get to another Night Slash in time. So this is setting us up really well. You guys can already see hardest counter to our backlines on the lead, which means they probably don't have another answer for our backline in the back, and we just got ourselves shield advantage, and they have to dump all of their energy as well. So I'm just going to let Obstagoon go. Obstagoon's moves, I have coverage with the same Pokemon in the back, that being Crunch and Earth Power, pretty much because of the ground or the Steel type Pokemon we need to have cover on. Now they have a Ninetales, so this is obviously very nice for us. Aqua Tail spam is ridiculous when it comes to a Drapion. It gets to it so quickly, and it does a massive amount of damage. So we're going to be able to get to 3 right here, and this is basically going to be a good game, very well played to my opponent. So we do get a shield, and you guys can see, I think they already have a Weather Ball, but I think they're just trying to overload a bit on energy. But ultimately, it didn't really matter. I still had 2 shields, and now we're going to swap into Nidoqueen for the Superior, and that is going to be a good game, very well played. So if you can get rid of that Pancake on the lead, your Poison backline is going to put in work. All right, moving to this next one, we got Obstagoon versus Shadow Golbat. Now, this is kind of a tough one right here because we necessarily don't have an answer for Golbat, but we have to manage our debuffs. Golbat has access to, it's typically going to be running with Poison Fang and Shadow Ball. It's basically all you're going to see. Poison Fang is going to do neutral, and then Shadow Ball is going to be resisted, right? But what's great about the Obstagoon here is we do neutral with Night Slash, and what I'm going to do now is swap into Drapion because I need to clear that debuff. I don't know what they have in the back, but Obstagoon might be a good answer. Now, we're also going to be going for crunches right here to put a lot of shield pressure on them early in this game, and we do get it. Now, what's also great about Drapion is the dark poison typing here. We resist Poison Fang, we resist Shadow Ball, so I don't need to shield. And they're deciding to stay in, which tells me this is pretty solid for us. Now, we do see a swap into a Seaking, which when we're this far ahead on energy, and Crunch just does so much damage. As you can see, that's about 50%. Things are looking pretty good, and because this Seaking is running with the legacy move of Poison Jab, we can go ahead and safely shield right here because we're going to resist the fast moves, and we can spam these crunches quicker than they can spam the Icy Wind. So we're going to go ahead and throw another crunch. Again, they're in a tough situation. They're already a shield down, and they don't necessarily want to give it up right here, which means we can farm down, and we got 2 defense drops right there. This is why Drapion just got an absolute buff. Now, we're going to go ahead and go for the Aqua Tail here for some nice chip neutral damage before we go down to fast moves, and that is going to be enough for us to really set ourselves up for success. We're going to go ahead and bring in the Obstagoon again. Because I want them to dump their energy with Poison Fang. Obviously, if I brought in Nidoqueen, I have to play the guessing game of is this going to be a Shadow Ball or not. So they go ahead and throw the Poison Fang. We're going to swap again into Nidoqueen and force the farm down right here. Now, I decide to no shield because I'm guessing they're going to try to go for a shield bait, which they do. So that's beautiful, and then there's a Meganium in the back. So this is going to be a good game. Nidoqueen, Poison Jabs, and Poison Fangs can rip apart a Meganium, especially when slightly ahead on energy in this one shield situation. They also decide not to shield, which is fine by me. I'm able to get to another Poison Fang in time, and ultimately, there's nothing they can do to kind of close this game out. The win cons are kind of gone now, but that's what's great about managing debuffs. Especially with a Poison Fang user on the lead. If you can clear those and they don't necessarily have hard answers for it, things look pretty good. So that's a good game to my opponent right there. GG's very well played. All right, moving into what I believe might be the final battle. Obstagoon versus, no, not even close, Toxicroak. My goodness, this is tough. All right, so we got Toxicroak on the lead. I told you guys that it's one of the hardest core breakers of this team. And what we need to do is basically try to get off as many Aqua Tails as we can. And I'm also going to be shielding right here. So obviously Toxicroak having Mud Bomb puts in a lot of work, but I can outpace it in terms of charge moves with Drapion. So I'm going to go ahead and shield. They don't have Mud Bomb. This is huge, everyone. This is absolutely huge. Our win condition now has appeared. This Toxicroak does not have Mud Bomb, and not all the Toxicroaks you face will, because some people run with Dynamic Punch, but ultimately I think in this meta of the Remix Cup, especially with all the Charmers and Poison, Mud Bomb is very, very nice because you're going to see it a lot. Now, they farmed me down, but we got all of the shields, so what we have to do now is come in with Nidoqueen, and we basically have to give up a shield, or I'm not going to shield on this one, but try to commit to the farm down because I know they have Dynamic Punch. I was thinking back to the other Toxicroak. So hopefully we can farm down, but I will have to give up another shield here. Obviously Dynamic Punch, even though it is resisted, still does a lot of damage. We have no shields left. Toxicroak has basically destroyed our whole team, but we have all of the energy in the world on this Nidoqueen. They bring in a Ninetales. We have an Earth Power, everyone. Lord, thank you. This Earth Power is about to do so much damage. Not enough to KO, so I have to go into the Obstagoon, and they have a Charmer in the back. Now, when it comes to these Charmers, you need to know the typing of it. So Wigglytuff being a Fairy normal, throw Cross Chops. Pretty much all the other Charmers, you have to throw Night Slash to do as much chip damage as you can. Now, hopefully I can get to this Poison Fang in time, which I do. This is probably going to be enough to take out the Grand Bowl, and then it's going to be a race between Poison Jab and Fire Spin versus our opponent right here, and we are able to get it in time, and that is going to be a good game, very well played. I know this game would have been drastically different if they did have Mud Bomb, but ultimately I had to play with what I was facing and do the best I can, right? We're able to pull it out. So we got Obstagoon now versus Pidgeot. Kind of a tough matchup, but again, playing with the your debuffs, right? So we're going to go ahead and throw Night Slash, and they decide to shield. This tells me that Obstagoon might do well against their backline. Maybe they have something like Frostlass, or maybe they have some tanks, right? Maybe a Registeel, maybe a Diggersby. So I'm going to go ahead and shield. It obviously could be a Brave Bird, and we're going to throw another Night Slash, and again, managing our debuffs just like we did with Golbat with Poison Fangs. Feather Dance is kind of the same thing, and I'm going to swap into the Drapion now. So Drapion can get to that crunch very quickly, and it's going to do enough damage to take out Pidgeot, which means we either get this Pidgeot out of the game or we get both shields super early. So we do get both shields. That's beautiful. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and call the bait. I'm going to let this go. I could come back in with Obstagoon, or I could come in with Nidoqueen and farm down. They decided to go for the Feather Dance, which is beautiful. And now we can go for crunches right here versus this Greedent. So seeing that they have a Pidgeot, seeing that they have a Greedent, they have to have an answer for tanks, a better answer. So I don't know what that could potentially be. It might be another fighter. It might be a ground like a Whiscash, but either way, having a 1-0 shield advantage with our Nidoqueen, things are looking very good because no matter what it is, we're going to do a ton of damage to them. So we're going to go ahead and bring in that Obstagoon right here. Like I said earlier, the Nidoqueen is looking to be my win condition right here, so I'm going to go ahead and let these charge moves go through. And they threw a crunch. That was a misplay by them. Maybe they just misclicked, but ultimately the Body Slam wouldn't have taken us out either, but we were able to get to this cross chop in time. Now I'm looking to swap right away potentially, and sure enough, they do have a fighter. They do have a Shadow Machamp right here. So I'm going to swap into the Nidoqueen, and they do decide to swap back into Pidgeot, so I have to hard commit to the farm down right here, and then just throw the Earth Power versus the Shadow Machamp, and that is going to be a good game. Very well played to my opponent. So I'm curious why they shielded on the Pidgeot on the lead, considering they had a Machamp in the back, but we'll never know. That's going to be a good game. So hope you guys enjoyed today's video. This team is extremely strong. I used it in Season 8, and it's performing super well in Season 9 as well. So like always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.